Welcome to the Ratbag Nomads. In this episode we head towards the capital of Bolivia and discover its hidden treasures, get stuck in the rain of the eastern Andes, almost robbed in La Paz, and much more.
We're the Ratbag Nomads. We're going now to do stuff. The footage is a bit rough.
After last episode's sailing adventure across the Salir del Uyuni, I woke up the following morning having travelled almost 65 kilometres in the wrong direction. I abandoned my plans of visiting the national park and decided it was time to learn some Spanish in the colonial capital. In the true fashion of not letting the plans get in the way of the journey, I headed for the white city of Sucre, over 400 kilometres away. My path took me northwest over the grain of the Andes, through the highest city in the world and once known as the richest. At over 4,000 meters, Potosi was the heart of riches for the Spanish Empire at its peak. The mountain has been mined for over 400 years, and they say there's just as much silver remaining underground. Many people do the mine tour, but I skipped out on it as the conditions for the miners are extremely poor. The average life expectancy of these workers is only 40 years of age. It didn't feel right to pay and watch the underprivileged exploited in such a way.
So here I am, I'm on my descent down into Sucre. I feel like I've dropped a substantial amount of altitude in the last 20 minutes. It's warming up. I can feel like I'm not in the cold anymore, and I can already tell that I'm probably going to miss the mountains.
Sucre is one of South America's most popular spots for learning Spanish. The city is full of old white churches and grand colonial buildings. Many take time to admire the city of Sucre within the walls of the local museums and ancient churches. For me, the true sights of Sucre cannot be discovered in the pages of a guidebook. They are found in the streets and on the faces of its people and its crumbling walls. A city with rugged romanticism, colonial sadness, and stories that are difficult to put into words. I spent 2 weeks in the Bolivian ghostly white city, exploring leafy green town squares and quiet streets. Each morning I walked a familiar path along narrow paved roads and spent time drinking coffee and discovering hidden corners of a place that was once invaded by the Spanish missionaries and merchants. I visited the central market each day to eat tasty chorizo sandwiches, battling weather-worn women in colourful skirts for huge bunches of fresh herbs and baskets of perfectly ripe fruit. I volunteered in a hostel for my food and board. Each morning was a routine of making beds, preparing breakfast, and cleaning up after the animals.
What is that?
The daily Spanish classes, accompanied by mojitos with my newly made friends, was a fantastic experience of learning and discovery.
I'm at my first day volunteering at the hostel in Sucre, and I'm on the breakfast shift. So basically that means cooking everyone breakfast, making beds.
Like realistically, you'd think these guys have been locked up for weeks. They were fed at 11 o'clock last night. They also enjoy eating other things. As you know, in Bolivia and South America, most of the toilets, you can't flush the toilet paper down. So these dogs really like getting into the bins, eating the shit paper out of the bin, and then spreading it around the hostel. Stage 1 complete of my quest to save $7.50 a day.
I also returned to Argentina for Christmas, and after almost 5 weeks off the bike, I returned to Sucre on a 48-hour bus ride. I carried out some repairs, washed Annabelle's hair, packed my bike, and set off further northwest into the eastern valleys.
So last night I had a close encounter with a pig. I was asleep in my tent, and then all of a sudden this pig was trying to get in my tent, snoring and going crow, 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 crow. In all the confusion, I thought it was someone trying to rob me, and I punched this pig through the wall of my tent, and then soon realized it was a pig, and then threw rocks at it until it went away, but it pretty much kept me up all night. Just on the side of the road in one of the eastern valleys of the Bolivian Andes, heading north towards La Paz and Inca. No, not Inca. It's Inca? It is.
Where did we go wrong? Somehow it's become the norm to think the earth is something that we own.
I reached the city of Cochabamba, only to find the route I had planned was flooded. I waited in Cochabamba for 2 days for it to pass, and it never did. I had some interesting experiences and felt it was time to push on. I climbed over 1,500 meters in 28 kilometers. The rain continued, and so did the trucks and buses. With no shoulder to ride on and 30 kilometers of roadworks ahead, I finally gave up and accepted a lift from a concerned local.
Sometimes you just gotta say yes to a lift and say bugger it and go on to the top on the express truck from hell.
Where did we go wrong? We mostly walk upon this place, far from keeping our end of the deal.
I've been riding on the National Highway Route 1 for the last day. It's just a long straight road to La Paz. Just hit a village. It's pretty basic. Everyone's loading up stuff on trucks. Just been eating food at the restaurant. It cost me $1. Got half a chicken and some rice. At first I thought this place was a bit dangerous, but it's actually pretty cool. Everyone's pretty good.
I reached La Paz with a feeling of achievement. However, shortly after arriving in the outskirts of the city, a man approached me from the front while another tried to steal my bags. My bike was pulled out from underneath me, and I landed on my feet. I promptly resisted their attempt to rob me. I took off, unfortunately in a panic, and I fell over my bike in the center of the street with everyone watching. I felt so alone in a city full of millions. I stayed 3 more days. I didn't explore the city, and I caught a bus out of town. They didn't take my bags that day, but they did take my confidence and reminded me of the situation in which I was in. I do not blame the people for their actions in the poorest country of South America. I guess I just needed reminding after developing a relaxed attitude.
We've done more to hurt this place than our hands could ever hope to heal.